Look, it's Greeny. I'm assuming if you've clicked on this video, you already know what this is. It's maybe one of the most notorious and well-known electric guitars in history, especially if you're into your classic rock. Greeny has had quite the press tour over the past maybe half a year to a year, especially with Gibson brand ambassador and Metallica guitarist Kirk Hammett putting his name to quite a few signature models, including a Gibson Standard and an Epiphone model. But in my lap is maybe the closest thing you can get to the real thing today. This is the Gibson Custom Shop model, and it's just shy of, at time of recording, about 20k in British pounds, that is. And fun fact, this is the first one that I've actually seen in the flesh, because everyone that we've had in since they launched have immediately sold. So it's great for me because it means I get to shoot a video with it. So I'm not going to dive too much into the history of Greeny, mostly because there's a lot better articles and videos out there that will go into real depth about the three owners of this guitar. And also I did touch on the history very briefly in our Epiphone Greeny review, which you can click just above my head there. But what I'll do is I'll get into the specs of this guitar, and then we'll get into the most important part, which are the sounds. So let's get on with it. So being based off of a 1959 Les Paul Standard, Greeny doesn't stray too far from the path with specs, especially from what we expect from Les Pauls. Has a relatively lightweight mahogany body, which will be good, obviously, if you're playing it for a long period of time. It has a pretty lively figured maple top there that has that greeny burst. It's got a mahogany through neck there, and it's got an Indian rosewood board on this particular model with 22 medium frets. So very traditional Gibbo scale length and radius with a 24.75 and a 12-inch respectively. And while we're on the neck as well, this is where things start to kind of deviate a little bit, because what Greeny has is known as the custom Greeny profile for the actual shape of the neck. Now, it's very much still a Les Paul, but if you've only played more modern incarnations of them, this is definitely going to be that little bit more round, a little bit kind of more baseball bat sort of shape. Nothing crazy, like it's not super chunky, but it's definitely less flat than what I would expect from, you know, like a traditional Standard from right now. So moving on to the hardware and the electronics, this is where things start to kind of deviate that little bit more as well. Most notably, starting at the headstock here, the classic kind of close-on style, or the, you know, the Grover style tuners that you'd expect on a Les Paul, they've been swapped out for the Spertzl USA ones there. I just needed to check what they said on the tuners, and these are absolutely rock solid. Not had any issues after I got this guitar all kind of settled out of the case. Now moving down to the electronics, as I mentioned, this is kind of where a lot of that magic comes from. Greeny is loaded with the custom Greeny buckers in here. Now you can get standard Greeny buckers, and they're the ones that come in the standard model and in the Epiphone model, but these are the ones coming out of the custom shop. Now, not only have they got the aging to match the rest of the guitar, and we'll touch on that just in a moment, but of course they have got the reverse mounted neck pickup there, which is also reverse polarity, which gives you that super unique middle position. You'll hear that in the sounds, but even just to give you a little taste right now. So I'll show you all the positions, just starting from the bridge here. Up to the neck. And then here is that middle position, which gives you that reverse polarity sound, just which obviously this guitar is famous for. One of the biggest features of the custom shop model, and certainly what sets it apart from the Gibson Standard model, is the relicking that's been done by the Murphy Lab. The Murphy Lab, who are regarded as some of the best in the game when it comes to relicking. The attention to detail on this is absolutely incredible. Now, full transparency, I've not seen the original Greeny in the flesh, and I haven't played a genuine 1959 Les Paul. But as far as kind of, you know, old feeling and old looking instruments, this might just be one of the best that I have played. There's just a certain kind of vibe that comes with played in old guitars, and I really just can't figure out how they do this kind of level of checking and this level of relicking work. We actually did an interview with Tom Murphy himself, so you can click the link if you want to see if he reveals the secrets at all in our interview. But I'm sure if you look at any photos of the original Greenie while it's on tour with Kirk Hammett right now, all of the wear, all of the marks, particularly where, you know, fingers would rest here, these cuts probably where rings were kind of dug into the body, and even on the back as well, it has Kirk Hammett's initials, KH, which are actually my initials as well, so that means that this guitar is mine, surely. It's all the little things on this guitar that really kind of help it stand out, and certainly for anyone who is a huge fan of Les Pauls or, you know, vintage inspired instruments and stuff like that, this is going to be an absolute perfect addition to your collection, especially if you are a huge fan as well, because it's just, you're going to look at photos of it and go like, oh yeah, cool, mine looks exactly the same as that. Now you can really get into the weeds with this guitar, especially, you know, if we're talking about the pots that are in there in terms of the output of the pickups, even, you know, like looking into great detail at the worn hardware and everything. But again, there's so much other resources out there that really dive into the minutiae of it. So I'm just going to crack on with some sounds, just see how this guitar handles with a couple of different sort of tones, and just give you my personal experience towards the end. Now, I'll preface this, I'm not the best classic rock or blues player in the world. It's not really my bag when it comes to my guitar playing, but I'll certainly try my best. And there's something about this guitar that just kind of pulls those riffs out of me as well. Today, all the sounds you will be hearing are coming just from Greenie, and I'm just using the brand new Universal Audio Lion pedal because I needed to combine a Gibson and a Marshall together, and that's just running it directly into our interface. So hopefully those examples showed you just what Greenie is capable of. Now, certainly if you are using it with a different sort of rig, you don't need to use a guitar like this for exclusively that kind of rock and bluesy sort of thing as well. One of the things with these pickups particularly is the fact that because they're not such a high output, they can be kind of cleaned up really nicely and you can use them with a multiple, different things. Like certainly something like this is maybe a bit more suited to the kind of rocky stuff, but you get the right kind of tone in it. I think you can probably play a bunch of jazz on this, or any sort of like kind of neo soul or anything as well. But yeah, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts about Greenie down in the comments below, and while you're there, give us a like and give us a subscribe. You know all the YouTube stuff by now. But until next time, I've been Kieran, and this is the Gibson Custom Shop Greenie. Have a great day.